management programs. This is a postgraduate business degree, and it's aimed at students seeking advanced general management knowledge. So you can apply for this MIM no matter what field of study you have studied before. So many of the MIM students come from fields outside of, or from studies outside of finance. And the program is often tailored to help graduate students learn and get familiar with key aspects of the business world. So it will give you a foundation in finance, marketing, strategy, operations, business communications, management theory, and organizational behavior. It will cover all of these core topics. So these MIM programs are internationally oriented, and they have been rising in popularity. Generally, Europe is known as the place where MIMs started from. And today, 85% of all the worldwide masters in management are offered in Europe. But there have also been quite a few programs in other parts of the world. And most of the courses are taught in English. So the difference between the MIM and the MBA is something that we can touch on today. The MIM, unlike the MBA, requires little or no work experience. So generally, students that apply to this program will have between 0 and 2 years of work experience. And you can apply for this directly after graduating with any bachelor degree or after a small amount of work experience, whereas the classic business degrees such as the MBA usually require about 3 to 5 years of work experience, often a bit more than that. Most students who apply for the MIM have less than 1 year of work experience, or will sometimes have experience perhaps in an internship rather than in a company role. Okay, while the degree itself is science-based, students can design their programs and choose to register with modules such as psychology, e-commerce, business ethics, perhaps even a second language. So the study experience can be quite versatile, and the study experience can be quite tailored towards your interests. Some of the schools offering MIMs are making internships mandatory, as they often count as credits towards graduation. And that is a great opportunity to get some experience and can very often lead to full-time positions in different companies. Another big difference between the MIM and the MBA is that the MIM programs are often much cheaper than the MBA, by quite a bit. They are normally a little bit more expensive than other postgrad degrees, but definitely a lot cheaper than the MBA. So in terms of admissions requirements, what you need to be competitive in your application, you'll need to have a previous degree, so a bachelor's degree or equivalent. Applications will also be accepted from final year undergraduate students awaiting completion of their degree. And as I mentioned earlier, this does not have to be a degree in business or finance. It can be a degree in engineering, it can be a degree in humanities. You can apply with any of these bachelors. You will also need a Gmat or GRE score for the majority of MIMs. And unlike the MBA, which puts a lot more emphasis on your work experience, the MIM, that Gmat or GRE score becomes a little bit more important in your application to show what you're capable of, and will help the admissions committee get a good idea of how you compare to other candidates that are coming from all over the world. You'll also need to put together your admission documents. So that's essays, mini essays, motivation, statement of purpose, recommendation letters from recommenders who can really give a bit more insight into your strengths. Very often you'll need proof of English proficiency, so that TOEFL or IELTS test, and then the interview as well, which normally you'll get invited to after you've submitted all of your other documents. And a note here that Gmat scores over 750 or GRE 330 plus. This is a good range to aim for many of these programs. Okay. In terms of the rankings, you will want to consider which school and which program makes the most sense for you. It's not always just about the ranking, but the rankings give you a very good idea of which schools you should be considering, which schools should be on your radar. And this is a Financial Times ranking. It gives you a breakdown of the name of the school and the program name. Note that the Master in Management is sometimes called slightly different things in different countries and programs, but these are more or less comparable. And it will also give you the country that these programs are based in. So that might also influence your decision based on what kind of experience you'd like to have, where you'd like to work afterwards, etc. And you can see a lot of the same schools coming up across the different rankings. So this is the Financial Times ranking. This is the QS ranking. And you can see the same names coming up again and again. So these are the kind of schools that you want to have on your radar, that you want to try and apply for the best school that you can possibly get into. Okay. I'm going to introduce our speakers and they can kick off with the conversation. And can I please just remind everyone to put your questions into the chat, and there will be time at the end to go through all the questions and get some information from all our different speakers. So it's a great opportunity to get more information. Okay, so you'll see we have the recruitment manager at HCC Paris, Eleanor Homasson. As you can see in the rankings, this program is very often rated as the #1 program for the Masters in Management. We're very lucky to have Eleanor chatting to us today, and you can have a look at her credentials as well. It's a great opportunity to pick her brain about this program. We also have the International Promotions Manager at Essec, Vibor Derby, and once again, top programs that we'll be chatting to you today, and a great opportunity to get more information. Another great resource, Alexandra Magday from INSEAD. She's an incoming student at INSEAD, graduated from Essec Business School, and will be able to give us a really good idea of the ins and outs of the experience of these programs. And then myself, I introduced myself at the beginning. I'm Cara Skickney, Gmat tutor, founder of Admissions Africa in South Africa, and graduate from Oxford. Lastly, Dr. Hubert Silly, founder and CEO of the MBA Center, test prep expert, creator of these MBA events world tour, co-founder of Access MBA, and he has a PhD from Harvard University. Great. So that is the panel. If I could please...
Maybe we can start with the school presentation. So, Vibor, you want to give a presentation now? Yeah.
I think Eleanor is supposed to go first, and then...
Yeah. If you want, but she was first. This morning, so you don't mind being second?
Yeah, sure. I can go. So I'll just take a...
change the order so that it's better. Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. So I will just share the screen if you give me a second, please. Okay, so do you see my screen now? Can somebody please confirm? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So very quickly, I think I have 10 minutes to present the programs of Essec to you. So here comes the master's degree programs. So we're talking particularly of the MIM program today. So here I will just quickly give you an overview of what Essec, the school, is about, where we came from, and what is our philosophy. So as you can see that Essec has a 100 years old history. It's a school with about 65,000 graduates worldwide, with having 4 campuses. You must have all been applying, so you must have read from the website. We have a campus for full-time master's programs at Cergy-Pontoise, that is 35 minutes from center of Paris. We have another campus at Paris La Défense, that's the business district in Ile-de-France, and that's the executive education campus. We have our first international campus, that's in Singapore. And then we had the second one that we opened recently with an objective to develop more of Essec brand in Africa, and that's the Essec Africa campus located in Rabat in Morocco. As you can see at all times, Essec has about 6,660 students in all the full-time graduate programs on our campus. And we are quite well ranked also on the Financial Times. As you can see, we have number 3 Masters in Management in the world, number 4 Masters in Finance, and other executive programs are also very well ranked. The 3 important points that you should remember when you're talking of Essec, and that forms our ecosystem, is the career services, the incubation, ideas and talent, so the Essec Venture and Essec Internship. I'll just talk about it very quickly. And then we have the alumni network of 65,000 people that I've just talked about. So the career services at Essec happens to be a very strong resource for our students. This means that we have about 21,000 job offers of apprenticeship, internships, VIE, different kinds of offers that are open to our students, and we provide all sorts of tools and training that students require to launch the careers of their dreams. We have about 250 meet and greet business professionals. This means that throughout your programs, no matter which program you're going for, but particularly for Master in Management at Essec, you would have throughout the year possibilities to get in contact with professionals who can help you understand what's the current scenario in the industry, how you should prepare yourself to launch your career in the industries. In addition to this, for those people who are interested to launch their own enterprises, we have 2 types of incubators at Essec. So we have Essec Ventures and Essec Entropia. Essec Ventures is a business incubator, which means that if you have any business plans, ideas of startups, you have any proposals you would like to develop and have more information about, you should get in contact with Essec Ventures, and the Master in Management program actually provides you with a lot of opportunity to have your own enterprises being created while you are in the program. It's actually validating a part of the program when you're at Essec. And you can see from the screen that you have about 72% of the 5-year survival rate, which means which is much higher than the national average of 30%. So it's a very successful incubator at Essec. In addition to this, if you have any ideas of non-profit organizations, you can also get in touch with Essec Entropia, which is for social enterprises and environmental enterprises, if you have any ideas. And then, of course, you have Essec Alumni. That's our network that I just talked about. We have about 70 chapters all over the world in major cities. Sometimes when we have bigger countries like China or India, we may have several chapters in the same country. This alumni comes at your rescue no matter what you're looking at. If you are an Essec graduate, if you're relocating to a new country, if you're looking for job transitions, etc. If you're already settled in a country and you're looking for job transitions, this network will always come to your rescue. It's a family in the city where you're located. So at Essec, we have a portfolio of all types of masters. For high school students, we have a BBA program. We have master's programs that you can see on the right-hand side. So masters taught in English, but we also have 6 masters that are taught in French. And then we have an MBA, a PhD, and executive education for more experienced profiles. You will see here that our master's programs have about 49% of international students and about 51% of French students. We're constantly trying to keep this this ratio of 50-50% to make sure that even the French students that are on campus get the best out of the experience while they're studying in their own country. We have 65 nationalities in all master's programs, but if you count the BBA and Global MBA and other programs, we had at one point 98 nationalities that are represented on campus. And of course, 44% of the master's programs are women. candidate. We're talking of the Masters in Management program. We can see that it's a very old established program at Essec. It's a degree that's recognized by the French government, by the French Higher Education Ministry. And if you are looking at doing jobs outside of France once you've graduated, if you want to work in public administration, if you want to work in defense, etc., you would have no problems absolutely in terms of degree recognition because it's a government recognized degree. It's a very well ranked program. So as I've already talked about this, it's number 3 in the world. In Economist, it's number 4. And number 1 in France, according to L'Étudiant, that's the French magazine. We usually say that it's a 2-year average program, but our Master's in Management is a 2 to 3 years. This means that students have the possibility to design the curriculum of the program that is adapted to their future professional needs. Or if students who are coming to the program with slight notions of where they're headed, but they are not 100% sure how to get there, or if they're not sure if they would do well in the jobs that they're thinking currently, they have the possibility to experiment with the program, to apply some sort of entrepreneurial approach to their program. And this is why we say that it's a 2 to 3 years program, because you design the program in your own pattern. It can be done 100% in English, but if you have a B2 level in French, you can also take courses in French. You can start the program in France or in Singapore, or go for one track, that is the Global Manager in Africa track, that can be taken also at our Moroccan campus in Rabat, in both the languages, English and French. In addition to this, you have the possibility also to do some double degrees and exchanges. So for double degrees, we have about 12 international double degrees that are open to students who are coming from international admissions. So by international admission, we mean that students who are coming with 3-year bachelor, 4-year bachelor, or a master's degree program. These 12 international double degrees, they can be done, almost all of them can be done starting from the 2nd year of the program. In the 1st year, you have possibility just to do a double degree with Bocconi in Italy. We have one dual degree, which is with Berkeley. I will talk more about it in a second. And then we have the 97 exchange partner universities, which means that if you don't want to go for one whole year, and if you're not looking for an extra degree on top of the Master in Management from Essec, you have a possibility to go just for 6 months and take a few courses and validate the requirement, the required amount of courses that you must take to graduate from Essec. So the 6 months partner universities, you can go to about 97 partner universities for the Berkeley dual degree. So it's important to understand the difference between dual degree and double degree. A dual degree is a paid degree, which is the case for most of the degrees in United States. So if you want to go have a degree from United States, it's usually something that you pay for. It's not a double degree. It's not included in your curriculum. A double degree works on reciprocity basis, which means that if we are sending 5 or 6 students to our partner universities, they are also sending us 5 or 6 students. And a dual degree is one where you have the possibility to take the course, the Master in Management, complete at Essec, and while you're at Essec, apply to the second UC Berkeley degree, which is going to be the Master's in Engineering, and take another degree when you have done with the first degree. So these are some of the possibilities of having international experience in the program. But all students, when they come for Essec, they would have different curriculum. When they arrive at Essec, they would meet first day, and sometimes you meet all the other students only at the end of the day. And the reason, at the end of the day during the graduation, the reason is because everybody is doing their own thing at their own pace and with their own requirement. All students would have something in common, that would be the academic curriculum. So you would have validated 25 courses, of which 10 are core courses and 15 are elective courses. You would have validated 12 months of professional experience. That can be done in the form of internships and apprenticeship. It can be a volunteering contract. It can be a full-time contract. It could be 2 6 months of internships in various ways. And then you have 6 months of international experience. Now, if you're international students who are coming to study in France or going to Singapore to study, we will not ask you to validate this experience because you're already kind of validating that experience. but we would ask you to just maybe do an internship abroad, or we have seen from experience that students would anyway validate this experience because they would go for exchange, they would go for double degrees, etc. So the overall idea of Master in Management is for you to have the opportunity to do a lot of experimentation with your degree. So we don't have a structure in the program. You decide what you want to do, when you want to do, and how you want to do. You come for the program. When you don't come 100% clueless, but you can have some notions. So for just to illustrate this quickly with an example, if you come to the program and you take some courses and you like some courses in marketing, and you are not very sure about it, we allow you to go for an internship immediately after taking those courses to try and see if you just don't like studying those courses, but you also like hands-on experience. And once you have done the internship, you would have some idea if you really like studying, or if you also like the hands-on experience, and if you're really headed towards this direction. And once you're convinced, you can come back to school and take more courses in marketing, and further specialize in marketing and launch your career towards that. So this kind of possibility to experiment with the program, to go and try different things. If you're not interested in marketing, let's say at that point, you will try finance, you can try supply chain, you can try data science, you can try different things. And so this possibility is available with the Master in Management program. This flexibility gives you an opportunity to really see and check where your aptitude lies, and what would be a best career trajectory for you. So that's the Master in Management at Essec, a 2 to 3 years program for students. In addition to this, I will not go in detail with in other programs. So you have a Master in Finance at Essec. We also have a Data Science and Business Analytics program. We have a Strategy and Management program for international business. That's for students who are interested to go in consulting. We have a program that runs exclusively in Singapore. That's the MSc in Marketing Management and Digital. So just to give you an overview, what kind of students can apply? So the first rule with the 3 and 4 year bachelor, it applies to our other programs, that is the Finance and Data Science program and SMIC program, where you have to have 3 year bachelor, where you have to do 2 years program when you have a 3 year bachelor, and 1 year program when you have a 4 year bachelor or more. But when you're coming for our Master in Management, you can have 3, 4 year bachelor, so 180 CTS, 240 CTS or more, and you can do the program in 2 to 3 years, and it depends on how you design it. The duration would be determined by the curriculum of your course. Our requirements are quite simple. So you need to create online applications. So you have CV, motivation, recommendations, academic transcripts that are usual requirements. We are looking for excellent academic records. And of course, something that is important to remember is a high Gmat score, or GRE score, or Taj Mahal score really plays well on your application. For example, if you have had a few grades that were lower, or because of those lower grades, you had a little bit lower GPA, a high Gmat score can really change and improve your chances to get in the programs. And in addition to this, we also need TOEFL, IELTS, Cambridge, or TOEIC. So if you don't have, if your last 3 or 4 years were not taught entirely in English, then we would need English test scores as well. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I will stop sharing my screen here, and we'll get back to Eleanor now.
So basically, no, before that, so okay. I think, Kara, that students have questions. So I see that I could see that Emma and Thomas were quite active. So can you ask the question that they have for this board?
So the first question from Emma, can we start the MIM program directly in Singapore?
Yes. So for the Master in Management, it's possible to start in Singapore. When you start in Singapore, you have 3 different options. You have the first one, you have to choose a track. So you start with a junior consulting experience. So these are not just regular refresher courses that you do. You will do the refresher courses with a hands-on experience, that would be junior consulting experience. And then you have 3 tracks to choose from: corporate finance, business management in Asia, and entrepreneurship on innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainability track, so IES track. And it's possible to do 1 whole year in Singapore and then go to Surgery or stay back in Singapore, or do the entire program in Singapore.
Okay. Another question, is it possible to create new partnerships with the university concerning the exchange program, or is it mandatory to do it with the list of exchange partners?
Yes, it has to be, your exchange has to be with one of our pre-decided partner universities.
Okay. Another question from Thomas. When do we select the possibility to do a double degree?
So for Bocconi, you have the possibility to start right in the first year, and we give a presentation. So if you're coming for September 2021 intake, in October 2021, we will give you a presentation of all the double degrees, where we will tell you what are the requirements for each one of them. In terms of starting the double degree, Bocconi is possible to start right from January onwards, but the other ones, they have to be started from September 2022. So we have 11 others.
Okay. And the last question, if there's time, what would be your tips for the application?
So my tips for the application is make sure that you have you express your whole life on your application, so we know not just your your academic credentials, but also know who you are as a person. Try to work hard. You know that you cannot no longer go and change your grades or your GPA. What's in your hand right now is the Gmat GRE scores. So try to work hard on your Gmat. Hubert is here to help you. Make sure that you express your plan for future, even if it's not very clearly on your application, so that we know that if our programs will be able to help you achieve that goal, and how we can help you. And that you can also express, and we are very impressed when we see that a student has done a good research about the programs, and they have also tried to use the elements in the programs to try to reach their future professional projects. So if you show that coherence, if you show that that you have done some research about the program and you're really interested to be part of Essec, that we'd like very much on your application. So that would be my two advices to put on your towards your application.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a question from Thomas. Do you distinguish French students who take the Gmat versus those who take the Tajmaj? You make a distinction? Yeah. You encourage students to take the Gmat, for instance? Yeah.
No, we don't have any distinction between Tajmaj and Gmat. Students can take whichever they want, but there's one thing that we would like to note, and that is if you are applying through international admissions and if you have a Gmat, we like that more than if you have a Tajmaj, because we know that Tajmaj is a test that's taken in French. And we have plenty of French students who come from the French cycle and who take Tajmaj. So for students who are applying with international admissions, we like if they can take the tests in English like Gmat or GRE.
Other questions. So basically, the same question today, and I think it's important. So basically, how many percent of the students take a gap year at Essec? Because we see that it's a 2-year program, but you can extend it to 3 years if you take a gap year. How common is it at Essec?
So we don't have this concept of gap year. We don't have the concept of M1 or M2 also. Usually students, the idea of taking a gap year is to, for many students, is to do some sort of professional experience while they are at gap year, or to do some sort of volunteering experience. But for our program, this experience is integrated in the program. We actually encourage students to go for it. So instead of saying, okay, take 1 whole year in between and do all your internship experience that is required, or all your professional experience that is required in 1 whole year, we ask you to do it in chunks. Do it when you're required to do an internship, and don't take a gap year. So there is no concept of gap year at Essec. You don't have to stop your studies to do something different. It's all integrated in the package.
Okay, there's also another question. We saw that this morning, but it's important because it's not that known. You know, we have a lot of students, for instance, from the center who study the masters in hospitality management. Okay?
Yes.
And in this master, it is very common that students do it. You have 2 options: full stack or apprenticeship. Okay. Is it something that you encourage, apprenticeship, provided that a lot of the students that we have here are from Europe? Okay.
Yes.
So it's easier for them to get a work permit, so to say.
Yes, definitely. So if you're a European candidate, you can start as early as January if you have an apprenticeship offer. So how does an apprenticeship offer work? You have to sign a contract that would be a tripartite contract between a company who's willing to give you an apprenticeship offer, between Essec and between yourself. Usually, the recommended period is 12 months. But it works on different rhythms. So you can have a rhythm of monthly basis. So for example, you're working 3 months in the company and then 3 months coming to Essec, or you're working on weekly basis. So let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at Essec, and then Thursday, Friday at company, or vice versa. And so you have to do 12 months, which means that while you're doing it part-time, it would extend up to 2 years. So this means that your 2 years are definitely confirmed with the Master in Management at Essec. But then in addition to that, you would have more things to add to your program that would be international experience, etc. And so we obviously encourage students because with apprenticeship, you have the possibility to first, the company takes care of your tuition. So your program is practically free of cost. In addition to that, they also pay you a salary, and it's not just a stipend, it's a proper salary that you get for 12 months of work that you're going to do. That would be about 24 months when you do it on part-time basis. So definitely we encourage apprenticeship. The only thing that we tell students is that if they're interested to look for an apprenticeship offer, and if they're non-French students, please start learning French. Already start working towards your French. You know that French, they really appreciate when somebody speaks their language. What French employers are looking is not that you are perfectly bilingual, but what they're looking is that you have made your first steps to immerse yourself in the culture. So they're sure that, okay, you are somebody who would like to stay back in France. And then perhaps when the time comes and if they choose to offer you a full-time contract, you are somebody who would take necessary actions from your side to be immersed in the company. And one of that would be having a strong level of language.
Yeah, that's something that will come back again and again. I believe that, of course, if you study in a country, if you studied at Essec or HEC, you need to want to spend some time in France. You've seen that, for instance, Essec has a campus in Singapore and also in Africa, in Rabat. But it would be stupid, for instance, I see that a lot of students who are here are French, okay? But I've seen some probably are from other countries that I don't know. Of course, but take it as an advantage. You say, okay, I'm going to come to Essec, and I will learn French. I will spend 1 or 2 years there. I will spend one or 2 years in Paris. I will work there. Maybe I can come back to my home country or work somewhere else. So of course, always take it as an opportunity. Okay, but it's a great country to be, and it's a great country to live and to have your first job, because salaries are pretty high here compared to, I don't know, to Italy. We have a student from Italy, like Umberto, or compared to Spain as well. Okay, so of course, if you want to make the most of this experience, learn the language. Okay, same thing. We have students applying for Saint-Gallen, they tell me Saint-Gallen this, Saint-Gallen that, but I say if you don't speak German, you will not find a job in Zurich. Okay, I find it would be difficult, especially now they have the choice. So basically, take it. I mentioned ici before, I can tell that you speak French well, that I have a lot of students who are already registering to Alliance Française, and the objective is to have a B2 before coming to France. Okay, and we, by the way, very disappointed not to be accepted in a French school because they have no, they learn French for this purpose. Okay, so any other question? Thomas, you have another question? Emma, yeah, you've been pretty active today. No? No?
There's one more question in the chat from Umberto. Isn't taking an internship while studying detrimental to the GPA?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, internship is a requirement, and you get credits for internship. Internship is a hands-on experience of learning things. You still learn. It's not at all detrimental to your GPA. It's part of the requirement of the course. Your GPA would be determined by the number of internships you did and the courses that you took. So definitely not.
Thank you.
Okay. It's important. So basically now up to you. Up to you, Eleonore. Huh? Yeah, you want. Thank you very much, Igor.
Thank you.
So, Eleonore. Huh?
Yes, I will try to share my screen also. Can you see my screen? No?
No. Yes.
Yes, is it okay? Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm Eleanor, I'm a recruitment manager at HEC Paris. So I would say my job at HEC Paris is really to guide you throughout the application process and to give you information about the programs.
Still blank, Eleanor, like this morning, still blank. No.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know what you did last time.
Like this, it's fine? No?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll try to start the... And like this, is it better? No?
Yes, it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry for the inconvenience. So I was just saying, like, I'm a recruitment manager at HCC Paris. So my job is really to guide you throughout the application process and also to give you information about the programs. So today we're going to focus about the master in management. I will try to be concise and make it impactful, so we have time also to answer your questions. And I will just start with a small introduction about HCC Paris. So at HCC Paris, we offer a wide range of programs, and the Master in Management is the pre-experience program. So it's a program that is geared to students between 0 and 3 years of work experience. If you have more than 3 years experience, in this case, an MBA program will be a better fit for you. And if you have even more work experience, so more than 10 years of experience in this case, an executive programs can be a best fit. We also have non-degree programs like the PhD that are more designed for research, and summer school program that can be a good test, good taste before committing into a master program. So I think that Kara, you told a bit about the rankings, so I'm not going to spend too much time about the rankings. There are just one ranking that I want to highlight is the fact that we are ranked third by the Alma Mater Index. Which means that we are the third school in the world behind Harvard and Stanford to train leaders and CEOs in the industry. So it shows you how leadership is important for us at HEC. It's something that we're going to assess during the application process, but also something that we're going to teach you. If you just have a look below at the fact and figures, I'd just like to invite some of them. So the fact that we have 4,500 students enrolled in degree programs, so it means all the programs that I showed you previously. And it's a really international environment because we have 105 different nationalities on the campus. And last but not least, but we have 60,000 alumni all over the world. So it's really great support for you throughout your study. They provide mentorship, but also after the study, they are a great support for your career placements. And we have really chapters like everywhere in the world, in Shanghai, in New York, in London, and many others. So those are the elements that set HEC apart, or maybe set the Master in Management program apart from other programs. So there are 3 main elements. The first one is our high quality standard. We mean that we try to maximize the class hours and minimize the class sizes. And our courses are always taught by a main instructor. By minimizing the class sizes, I mean that you will never be more than 50 students per classes, and that it can be even less according to the electives courses that you choose. And my second point is that your courses will be taught about 50% by researcher faculty and 50% by practitioners. So we have a perfect balance between theory and practice. And it also includes the fact that you will be doing a lot of company projects, real-life case studies. You will be attending a lot of conferences throughout the years, consulting project, and this type of project with companies. So it will allow you really to have strong connections with companies throughout the year. And finally, it's an inspiring environment. So you have a strong campus social life. It's a lot of clubs, a lot of association, and it's also a good way for you to enhance your network. Maybe it's the schoolmate that you have today, but tomorrow it will be your business partner. You have also a lot of networking events that are, because we have quite dynamic career center, so they organize fairs on the campus, they organize workshops, they organize quite a lot of events to help you also with your career placement, and we have also a personal development program. If I dive a bit into the program, and I'll start with the class profile. So as you can see, we have 250 international students enrolled in this program. So very international environment, and it's important for us to have a well-balanced diversity in terms of nationalities, but also in terms of backgrounds. So you can see, well, on the graph, the different nationality that we have in the program, and also the different backgrounds. So of course, we welcome students from business, management, and engineering schools, but we also like to have some, I would say, atypical profile, come from sciences, political sciences, and other backgrounds. The average age in this program is about 23 years old, so it's really show you that it's a pre-experienced program designed for students with a few work experience, and it can really be only an internship, for example, or volunteer experience, or getting involved in an association. And you can also see the average Gmat score on this slide, but maybe we're going to talk a bit on that. Well, I'll touch on later on this information during your questions. About the structure of the program, so it's basically a 2-year program. The first year is a generalist phase, and the second one is a specialization phase. And you can have a gap year in between those 2 years. So for the first year, you have mainly core courses and elective courses. And if you already have some core courses during your previous studies, you can waive them and take even more elective courses. So you can see on the slide just below some examples of courses, core and elective courses. Just please note that those are examples, but the courses can evolve from a year to another, because the academic team really try to adapt as much as possible to your own needs. And then, yes, it can evolve, and it's just some examples. So you can see that in elective courses, you can pick courses from business, from digital strategy, from international affairs, and from social innovation. And once again, because of this practical approach that is quite important for us, we will also have consulting projects and a lot of projects with companies throughout the years. Then during the second year, it's a specialization phase. So you have several options to get specialized in. You can stay on the campus at HCC Paris. And in this case, you can pick one of the specializations that we have. So you will be joining the student from the MSc program. So it can be strategy, it can be marketing, it can be sustainability, and many others. Or you can choose to do a double degree with one of our partner universities. So you can see some of them listed on this slide. So for example, we have a partnership with Berkeley, like Essec, MIT, Bocconi, HKUST, and many others. Just to be clear, to clarify, maybe if you choose a double degree, you will in this case have a degree from HCC Paris and from the partner university. And the second year will be fully in the partner university, and you can get specialized also in a specific field. And the third option is to do an exchange program. So in this case, you will do 1 semester at HCC Paris and 1 semester in partner university that is a partner of the SEMS program. And at the end of the second year, you have the option also to do what we call a certificate. So it's between 6 to 8 weeks of certificates. Those certificates, you can pick one of those 8 certificates. And they are designed by HCC Paris and by one of the companies that you can see listed below. So for example, the Excellence in Client Experience one is designed with Kering. The one about digital entrepreneurship is designed with Renault. And it's really also the opportunity for you to meet new students from other programs, to enhance your expertise, or to explore another expertise that you would like to broaden. And yes, just to finish this presentation about the Master in Management, and talking a bit about the career path. So we have 96% of our students who are graduates that are employed within 3 months after this program. And the 4 remaining persons, they choose to do a PhD after their study. And you can see that the career placements are quite large. We have like 40% of the students who choose consulting, about a bit more than 1/4 who choose financial services, but also other one that choose different fields. And it's because of the fact that you can really choose a specialization during the second year that the career placements are so wide after this program. And it's the same about the employment, the employment region. So we have a lot of students who choose to stay in Europe, or in France, and some of them just choose to go back in their home country or to go abroad. And some of them also launched their own company.
Okay, so very good.
Yes, I just had in comparison with this morning, because we have a lot of questions about the application process. So I just had this slide about about the application, just to explain you that at HEC, about the application, we have a holistic approach, which means that we're not going to consider only, for example, academic excellence, but we're going to, it's really the well-balanced combination of your work experience, including internship and extra activities, so strong motivation, cross-cultural sensitivity, and a competitive Gmat or GRE score that is going to be important. And just to finish, if of course, if you have questions, you can just well, send us an email after this presentation, after this webinar at admissionsmasters@hec.fr. And we also have a platform on our website that is called Unibuddy, and you can chat with students. So it's also a great way for you to, well, for them to share their experience with you and for you to have more information from, I would say, the inside of HEC.
So basically, it's a good idea because I have Cesare who is there, okay? And Cesare started HEC, what, 3 months ago already, huh? Cesare? Yeah?
Yes, hello.
Hello,
Hello everyone.
So it's interesting because when people have questions, you see, Eleanor, it's even better that they ask to someone who is there. So Cesare was our student, okay? He's from Genova. And so basically, people have questions. So tell me about your experience these first 3 months at HEC. What has it been like? Yeah.
So hello everyone. Thank you, Hubert, for giving me the word. So yes, I joined HEC a few months ago in the Master in Management program, and it has been an incredible experience so far. The program is very broad, is very thorough, and it's basically covering all of the electives and all of the classes that are really needed for basically an individual to grow as a professional. And we're really covering a vast of courses, and the school is not only preparing you very well academically, but it's also giving you the opportunity to really focus on your career. There are a lot of associations you can join, for instance, like the Finance Club Association, or there are, like, for instance, consulting club associations that you can follow. And in these associations, you gather a lot of experience as well, that then you can carry on in the future as you progress with your career. Then the faculty is incredible. There is a lot of diversity with professors, and the way the classes are taught are very fast-paced, are very advanced. Everyone is very committed, and you can see a very bright students that really push the limit, and that is really what is making me so passionate about this program, because you learn so much, you really deepen your skills, and you actually become a better professional. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and I feel that the Master in Management is a great program because it opens you the door to everything. It doesn't have to be necessarily like consulting, but it can be also finance. You can choose your electives based on your choice, and then in the professional gap year, if you want to take it, you have the opportunity to foster your experience and progress with whatever you want to do, and then come back and do a specialization. So it's a very nice program, and it offers you a lot of opportunities.
Okay, so tell me, Cesare, what has been like since you started because of the COVID situation? That's a question that students have. So how have you managed that? I know that HEC opened the campus and they closed it, and so what has it been so far?
So the situation with the current situation is that HEC initially has been operating on a hybrid mode, which means that basically students were divided and were still divided into 2 main groups for security reasons, Group A and Group B. So at the beginning, when the situation was not as bad as currently, basically we were alternating and going to classes. Let's say I'm Group A, and basically I would go to the class on Monday and Tuesdays, and then the following week I would go on Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays. And that allows people to still have the experience of the classroom, and meet the professors, and basically have have a real you know, attachment with the class itself, and try to maintain the integrity of the program. But since we're living in a very hard situation, security-wise, the situation has changed now, because now all the classes are online. I mean, this is not HEC had to adapt based on what the government has said, and based on the lockdown. So currently, I mean, the classes are completely online for security reasons. It's obviously like an external factor that cannot be really controlled by HEC because of the given situation. But even if the program is online, I mean, you still learn a lot, and you still work. You still have a lot of groups, so you meet a lot of people, and there are a lot of events where you can actually socialize with students virtually. And the nice thing of HEC, by the way, is that regarding this, apart from this situation, you have a campus with dormitory, and you have a really nice opportunity to basically interact with everyone. I know that at the moment, I personally came back to Italy right now, but I'm planning to go back if the situation is not too bad in a few days, because I really miss being there, in a sense, because there are a lot of my friends, and it's nice to be around people. But a lot of people decided to stay home because of security concerns. So I mean, the school is doing its best to adapt to this situation, but it's new for everyone. So I mean, but classes are managed very well. The program is still holding very well. We're learning a lot. So the situation is, I would say, not as bad as I could have expected, or as other people could have expected it.
Okay. Final word, Eleonore, on HEC. So what are the questions that you have? If there's a question that comes over, so some students, you know, will apply both for MSCs and MIM, okay? How is it perceived to apply for both? You say, okay, the person is not really motivated in the program, so when I say he wants to have the HEC brand on the resume, or do you consider that as something very positive, as a sign of strong motivation? How do you view that?
Yes, it's totally fine for us, but they can just have two choices. So they can, for example, choose first the Master in Management and then an MSc program, or vice versa. For us, it's totally fine. In this case, you just need to do one application with two choices, and you need to prioritize also your choices, because if you're admitted in your first choice, your application won't be reviewed for the second one. For us, it's not going to be like perceived like a lack of motivation or anything, but you need to be consistent on both applications. So we need to understand why you apply for this program and why you apply also for the other program. But it can be also completely understandable. For example, if you're sure to do, for example, I don't know, strategy or to work in consulting, but you think that you're hesitating between the fact that being in a focused program like the MSc one, or to take a bit more time with a two-year program. But it's totally fine if it's consistent in your application.
Kara, you have some questions to ask, other questions from the public. Yourself, you're an education expert. As I said, Kara also works for Business Because. She has an MBA. She runs a test prep program. She works as a coach for us. She's also a journalist. So I don't know, as a journalist, I don't know, what are the questions that you have
there's a few from the chat that I want to touch on first. So one from Emma asking, do you have a number limited for the elective classes? So is it a case of students managing their own programs, or is there a maximum number of electives that can be taken?
Yes, there's a maximum of electives that can be taken, and it depends on your previous studies, because for some students, they can take from 21 credits in place of elective courses if they have already taken some core courses, but there are limits regarding the number of elective courses that they can choose. Maybe, Cesare, you want to share a bit about the elective courses or how you made the choices?
Yes, absolutely. So for the electives, it really depends, as you were mentioning before, Lenore. It really depends on on your academic background. So first of all, it really depends on the possibility if you want to waive some courses. For instance, you have to make sure that basically what you took in your undergraduate program matches and is basically agreed by the admission committee as valid. In that case, you can waive the course, and if you can waive the course, then you can decide to take elective courses all of a sudden. My personal choice was not to waive any course, so I'm gonna take elective courses in the following semester. But for people that decide to waive courses and they're validated, they can start to take elective courses immediately. Like for instance, I know a friend that is currently doing M&A, for instance. Or other electives. You can see the list. But if you want to waive courses, you have definitely a more broader choice of electives if you don't waive them. But yeah, it's really up to you, and it's really up to how you want to shape your program. If you feel you need those courses that are core, or if you want to try to waive them because you feel you know them and you want to focus on something specific that the elective offers.
There's something else that I want to ask you. That you see, it's important, Cesare, that you come here. You agree that when you decided to study in France at HEC, you came for the HEC brand, but you also came for the country. That's something that I would like you to explain. Okay, that you don't come just for a brand. You have to like the country. You have to be ready for an experience. Okay, me, for instance, when I went to America, I wanted to go to America. I didn't want to go to the UK. Brazil, I want to go to America. So is it something that you want to explain? Because I see that you're learning French now. You speak pretty well. Sometimes you write to me in French. So can you tell me about this experience, you being in Italian? By the way, you did your bachelor in the US, so you're not a pure Italian person, because when you were 18, you went to the US and you studied in Illinois for 4 years, and you studied there. So can you tell me about this experience of explaining that, yes, if you want to come to HEC, if you want to come to Essec, you also come to France and you have to like the country, and it's also an experience that you're going to have there. It's not a Disneyland. It's not a place that is not, I don't know, is not parked anywhere. So this place, it's in France, and there will be something about the French experience. Can you mention that? Yeah.
Yes. So I think that France has an incredible edge in terms of education. We can see like great schools such as HEC and Essec, for instance. Like you have incredible opportunities in terms of education and in terms of work opportunities as well. Paris is growing a lot in terms of like work opportunities, and basically if you come to HSA or if you decide to go to Essec, it's really up to you, but they're both top schools up there, so really it's really up to you. But I chose initially HSA because I saw myself that I wanted to do a master in management at HSA, but it's really up to you what you want to choose. But regardless, Paris offers an incredible variety of opportunities. Like for instance, right now, the master in management is actually making me figure out that I really want to dive into finance, right? But so later on, maybe there is the opportunity to do like a master in finance specialization. Obviously, like you need to perform at very high level because the school is very competitive, but obviously this is what we need in order to be successful people. We need to be challenged, and we need to be we need to be very studious as well. But in Paris, you can find a lot of opportunities. It's very important. It's growing a lot in terms of like an entrepreneurial hub, in terms of like financial institutions wise, in terms of consultancy. So you have a lot of opportunities in France. And it's very important that if you consider coming to France, that you expand your level of French. So for me personally, when I was in the United States, I decided to go there because I wanted to be challenged. I didn't want to stay in Italy. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and this is kind of like the same reason why I decided to come to HEC. And my knowledge in French really comes from my all the way back to my middle school, but I continue to practice French because I really know that it's very important to have at least a C1 level to have like opening doors for work opportunities in France. So I would really suggest for you guys, if you're planning to come to France and choose HEC or Essec or any other school in France, to really focus on your French, because that's very important.
Because when I met you, Cesare, I will never forget the first time that I met you, because we spoke in the streets. I don't know if you forget. At that time, you were working for McKinsey. So you were completing an internship. And I wanted to push you to stay with McKinsey and go for an MBA. Don't know if you remember. And no, I want to quit McKinsey. I want to go to HEC. So it was a funny story, and you did your way. Okay.
Yes.
So, what else can we say? So, Cara, you have other questions? Hello?
Yes, there's one more question from the chat from Alexandra, asking about the probabilities of getting a scholarship for the MIM and what basis are they given?
Yes, well, we have one, I would say, main programs of scholarship, that is the HCC Foundation Excellence Scholarship. For this one, your application will be automatically reviewed if you're admitted to HCC Paris. So you have, I would say, nothing to do, and it's a merit-based scholarship. So the criteria are going to be the same as the one during the application process. And to give you some data, it's about 35–40% of the international students who get this scholarship. But the amount of the scholarship can vary. It can be from 4,000 euros to 12,000 euros. And it can be a bit more if you're a woman. In this case, it's a high woman potential scholarship, but the process is exactly the same as the one for the HCC Foundation one. So nothing to do, and it's merit-based. But the amounts can be 15,000 euros. And I would recommend you also to ask Campus France in your country, because sometimes they have a local scholarship that can be in addition or in substitute of the HEC Foundation one. And yes, it's also a great way to have some funding financially.
Okay. So now up to you, Alexandra. So Alexandra, if you want to introduce yourself, okay. And Alexandra.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Alexandra Magday. I graduated from Essec Business School, and I got accepted to INSEAD for the first promotion, but due to COVID, I decided to defer my master's for next year. I come from Moldova, and I've done my bachelor's degree at Essec. During my studies, I've had the possibility to study in France, Singapore, and the UK. And I chose among the other masters that I applied to, such as LBS, HEC, and St. Gallen. I chose INSEAD due to its diversity and due to its very international network. As you may know, it's the business school for the world. And I really enjoyed spending my time in Singapore and visiting the campus of INSEAD, which is right next to the campus of Essec. Was a very fascinating experience, and this is why I decided to pursue my studies at INSEAD.
So basically, Alexandra, you got accepted to both INSEAD and LBS. Why INSEAD more than LBS?
Well, first of all, INSEAD is a very new program, so it was launched this year. So it really had this pioneering spirit. And also, the classroom was very diverse. I mean, it's also the case for LBS. But I've actually had the opportunity to spend my, one of my semesters in the UK, and I would actually like to continue my studies both in France and Singapore. I really enjoyed the experience, and I would like to relive it. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so basically, yes, because you have a friend, for instance, Marion, she's at London Business School, and she chose LBS versus Bocconi. So what has been the most difficult part of the admission process for you?
Well, for me, the most difficult part was, of course, the choice, as well as preparing for the Gmat, because you need a lot of time. You need some time to prepare it. However, the Gmat is not the only criteria that is assessed in your application, and you should make sure that you have a well-rounded application. So focus on your leadership experience, on your GPA, on your extracurricular activities, on your work experience, and of course on your international exposure. That's all that matters.
Okay, that's the thing that matters. So I remember that you took the Gmat twice. So was the Gmat the most difficult part of the application for you?
Well, it was not. It was quite difficult because it took me 6 months to prepare it. Pardon. It took me 6 months to prepare it, and I didn't really have a structure. I mean, I juggled with many materials, and I tested all of them. I didn't have an efficient strategy. I think if I had an efficient strategy, it would have taken me much less to prepare. But actually, I figured it out while making mistakes and taking the test and training myself. And that's, I mean, you learn it by doing it.
Okay. So it's a good thing. So I'm sure that Kara, you have lots of questions. Okay. So what are the questions that have been asked in the and that maybe
there's one question from Emma that I wanted to pick up on.
Yeah.
It's asking what makes a difference in the application besides getting a strong GMAT, strong background, and so on for the MIM program. And then I'd like to just extend that to ask what do you think are some of the red flags in applications of mistakes that people make when they're applying?
Alexandra, yeah, Alexandra.
Okay, so I think it first of all really depends on the school, but as a whole, I would say that what really makes a difference is you being diverse and being true to yourself. What I mean, don't try to like make a standardized application with just, you know, boring essays. Try to stand out through your creativity. So that's what makes you different. For instance, you might have, I don't know, some weak points. Try to convey the strong ones. And somehow demonstrate to the admissions committee that you are working on improving your weaknesses and you're like aware of your like weaknesses. As well, I don't think the GMAT is as important. I mean, it is definitely important, but you shouldn't waste all your time on the GMAT. I would recommend creating a well-rounded application, and what schools really value is your leadership experience. I think extracurricular activities and leadership experience are a very strong indicator of your potential, apart from your grades. They are not going to take you just because of your grades.
Yeah, so it's very important. I would say there are probably 3 rules. So first of all, you have to know, to show them that you know the school. Remember that one day there was a student and she wrote, she was applying to, I don't know, 10 schools at the same time, and she made a mistake. And I was very surprised to see it was for ESAD. I was very surprised how ESAD made it clear that she had to rewrite the application because she was mentioning LBS and they didn't like that. Okay, right. So it goes to that extent. So you have to show them that you have a real interest for the school. Okay. So on the professional project has to be important. Of course, at the point that we at MBA Center we have, because sometimes we have students who are 19, 20 years old, and how can they know what they will do further in life? But it's important, okay? And of course, I agree with you, the contribution. And by the way, London Business School has an essay on the contribution. Of course, HEC will have a look at it, but some schools even have an essay. They say 2 at London Business School is a contribution essay, okay? Kara, more questions?
Oh, yes. You were just talking about mentioning that you know the school. What are some ways that you can demonstrate that you actually have an idea of what the school is about, what the school's values are, and how you gel with those values?
Well, from my personal experience, I actually went to the open campus event to actually demonstrate my motivation. And I spoke to the admissions committee and to all the marketing team, so they knew me pretty well. That's one way of demonstrating your knowledge. As well, they organize, for instance, webinars. You can attend the webinars and talk about the webinars that you attended. As well, the professors who are in these schools, they tend to write different books. So you might mention, for instance, some of their books or some of their research papers.
Yeah, that you go very far. If you go there, you go very far. It would be very good. I don't know if you have to go that far, but it's good. And you, Cesare, you got accepted to many schools. You have been a very successful applicant as well. You got HEC, you got Essec, you got I don't remember. You got so many. So what is the secret of success?
Yes, so yes, I applied to many different schools. I agree a lot with what Alexandra is saying. I mean, it's very important to be very diversified. It's very important. I think the key to enter, it's really to focus right now in these months to enrich your application, to really make a CV that stands out, to really focus a lot on extracurricular activities, on your international exposure. If you did any particular projects that are particularly relevant for your studies or for the application that you're doing, I mentioned that. Me personally, when I was applying for all the schools, I attended a lot of webinars, and I networked a lot with the schools. I was in touch with a lot of with the admission committee. I was asking a lot of questions. So show your motivation, show your commitment towards the school, show that you're interested in the particular program. Ask a lot of questions. So put a lot of your time and effort into understanding what is the school, what does the school really want from you, apart from going on the website and looking at the values and looking at the the main criteria. Like, dive deep into it, like, show your passion, deliver that, and really shape your CV in such a way that it stands out. I would really suggest that, because I really think that if you guys are applying for top schools, I don't doubt that you guys are very bright, that you have very high GPAs, and that you can achieve high Gmats. But what the school is looking for is for like a unique profile. So really focus on that. Try to be as balanced as you can. Try to be, for instance, like in my application, I was pushing a lot my volunteering experience. I was pushing a lot my passions. For example, I developed a patent with my family, and we're currently developing a prototype currently. So while I was in Loyola, I was also working on a side project, and I was developing a patent in collaboration with an American company. So always think outside of the box, and always try to do more, and put added value to your resume, and put yourself into the admission, into the HR that is going to look at your application, and see if that is going to stand out, is your profile is going to stand out, because then as soon as you have an open door for the interview, then you have the occasion to reveal really who you are. But it's very important to have a diversified application as much as you can. Yeah.
Tell me, Vibor, are you with us still? No, maybe. So tell me, so Eleanor, I guess Vibor, so the question I will ask you, the two questions. So so there was a student, Emma, she said that part of the school DNA is networking, social life. That's something that they said a lot. So how is it going on now at Essec? What do people do to still develop networking opportunities within the business school, outside the business school community? How does it work? What do you recommend? What do you see now in these difficult times?
So at Essec, we always had this idea of virtual networking. We have a career center where we have professionals who are coming, and then you have students, and then we're trying to put them together, and they network like that. Of course, you cannot network with everybody. You have like hundreds of professionals you're supposed to get in touch with. You cannot network with everybody anyway, even if they all come to the campus and if the campuses were open. So we decided to do this virtual thing even before, because we wanted students to reach out to as many students, as many professionals as much as possible, as many industry experts. So things have not changed much in that aspect. So you were meeting professionals during the recruitment fairs, during the professional talks, workshops, etc. on campus. But in addition to this, you were also recruiting, you were also meeting candidates in virtual meetups, even before this whole COVID situation. So we just implemented the same thing now for 100% of the time, where students are getting in touch with professionals. We're doing workshops that are online, masterclasses that are online, networking events that are online. Our the biggest one that happens at Essec is a networking event that happens in the UK. It's the finance networking event. And this one happened very recently. It was entirely online. It worked very fine. So we think that shifting to online ways of networking can have some negative impact on networking, on creating relationships with people, but in reality, it does not. It's really up to you. If you're an open person, you're an open person also behind the screen, and you're going to do well. So for us, it hasn't changed much. We're doing what we were doing before, but on a 100% basis.
Okay, you, Eleanor?
I think that for us it was a bit new because we strongly believe in the interaction between the students, between the teachers, between the companies. But the academic team and the career center and even the students did an incredible job, and they really achieved to switch all that they can online. And I know that, for example, for the study trip, we just switched to conferences and the visits and all that stuff online. It's kind of the same for the student association. So yes, we just try to do our best so that we can maintain the academic excellence and also preserve the health of the student, of course. And yes, I think that's it.
Okay, so Kara, how do you want to end to finish? Because I know that in Business Because there are a lot of articles in Business Because about the COVID, the situation,
yes,
applicants, etc. What would you say?
Yes, and it's something that I wanted to ask both schools about. I know that a lot of students are worried about internship opportunities and career prospects with COVID. And I think that's a separate issue to handling the academic and the social life on campus. Are there issues with, have you seen a drop in internship opportunities and career prospects, or are students able to succeed nevertheless?
Vibor, yeah.
So when the lockdown first started in March, we saw some drop. So we saw about 30% students who already had job offers at hand. They were not able to start their offers because Essec imposed a rule that any internship can be started only if it's in the online mode, and companies were not prepared to do that. And so we saw 30% drop for the first lockdown. But I think now it's picking up, everybody's stepping up their game, everybody understands that we have to move online, we have to move virtual. So now it's not impacting anymore as much as it did during the first lockdown. Kara.
Okay. Eleanor?
Yes, for us, we didn't see that trend during the first lockdown. And we think that it's maybe a bit too early to measure the impact of the pandemic on the economy and how it will affect the job market. It will be maybe a bit more for next year. We're quite confident as job placement has always been strong for us, and we'll try to, in any case, have strong resources, and we'll try to mobilize the resources that we have for the students. So we're going to mobilize the alumni network and the strong alumni and dynamic network that we have, also the strong connection that we have with companies. And also our career center did an outstanding work by organizing online fairs, workshops, and events throughout the year. So yes, we're really going, well, we try to be confident and optimistic that thanks to all the resources, our students are going to be able to find a job placement and to choose their job placement. The most important thing, I think.
Okay, great.
Okay, so so thank you very much for staying. Okay, so of course it's great because we have 2 admission officers, 2 students who decided to join. So it's the last. We had 2 webinars. One this morning with Indian students, one this afternoon with European students. So of course I'm very proud to see that France has such excellent schools, excellent programs. I wish that more could have come. I wish that ESCP, EDEC, EMEA, could have come. You have seen that now Polytechnic offers, which is a top engineering school, offers specialized masters. So they are developing a sort of Sloan School in the same way as MIT has done. So of course it's a very good thing. Also for me, it's very interesting as a teacher, as a professor, to see younger students, not just MBA applicants, but younger students who are also interesting. It's interesting to see someone who is 21, 22 and help this person move forward in life. Okay. What about you, Cara? What would be your last word? Now apply, but most of the students that you have here are Gmat students already, so they are applying. So what do you say, Cara? Last word.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to hear from the school. It's really nice to have so many questions and to see people really interested and engaged with interacting with the schools. So yeah, I think just good luck to everyone with your applications. And also thank you very much to HEC and Essec to help us develop, to help MBA Center do its job. Okay, some schools have refused to come. Okay, which I find is unacceptable, because MBA Center is a non-for-profit organization, and when we invite schools because our students need to talk. Okay, I know that there are webinars, but now what we organize is multi-schools, and also some students, as you know, they feel, some of them, for instance, told me that they didn't want to come here because they feel that they will be interviewed after the webinar. Okay, so it's very important that there are some type of prep program where people are advised, trained, prepared to meet you. Okay, because you have to see, Leonor or Vibor, that there are many people who give up because of the Gmat mainly. Okay, because of the test, because of the price. Now there are many problemms that people are facing. There are going to be social and economic issues with our students. Okay, Vibor, yourself, you're from India. You know what is going on there. So we have a lot of people who have not started their program this year because they cannot. It's very important that there's a place where people can be trained. They feel confident, they can talk, mention their doubts, their problems. You agree, Cesare? And be advised, trained before they go into something that will be a big commitment for them. So it's very important that an organization like us exists. Okay, I believe so. And Cesare, Alexandra, Thomas, Emma, all people who are there, they will testify of the importance of having mediation between students and school. Mediations are always important, by the way, in life. A sort of place where people can talk, discuss, exchange, and you help us make our organization better. So thank you very much, Leonard and Vibor. We know that we can rely on HEC and Essec. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.